All right, so we're going to be solving this rational equation, and the first thing I'm going to do is take a look at the denominators because I have to find a least common denominator. So I noticed that this denominator can be factored. It's a trinomial, so you're saying what multiplies to 6 and adds to 5, and that would be 3 and 2. So I'm going to erase what I have here and actually write it in its factored form, which is x plus 3 times x plus 2. Now we're going to find the least common denominator. So taking a look at the first denominator, I know that it has to have an x plus 3 and an x plus 2. Taking a look at the second denominator, I notice that it has an x plus 2, but we already wrote that down. And taking a look at the third denominator, it has an x plus 3, and we already recorded that. So the least common denominator is x plus 3 times x plus 2. So essentially, we're going to be multiplying the entire equation by the least common denominator. So I'm going to rewrite the least common denominator here on the outside. So x plus 3 times x plus 2. And we're multiplying that by the entire equation. So 3 over x plus 3 times x plus 2 plus x minus 1 over x plus 2 equals 7 over x plus 3. So essentially, we're going to be distributing this to all three parts, okay, of the equation. So let's start with the first term here that we're distributing it to. So when I multiply both of these together, you're going to notice that the x plus 3's cross out because one's technically in the numerator and one's in the denominator. And then the x plus 2's cancel out. So all you're left with is 3, right? So my first term here is 3, okay, plus. When I distribute this to the next term, notice that the x plus 2's will cancel out. So I have to multiply x plus 3 times x minus 1. So let's write that down. X plus 3 times x minus 1. And that's equal to, when I multiply this pair, the x plus 3's will cancel out. So you're left with x plus 2 times 7. So 7 times x plus 2. All right, so I have 3, and then if I multiply my 2 by 2 here by distributing x to both terms, I would have x times x is x squared, x times negative 1 is negative x, and then I distribute the 3 to both terms. 3 times x is 3x, and 3 times negative 1 is negative 3. And that's equal to, now let's distribute the 7 to both terms. 7 times x is 7x, and 7 times 2 is 14. So on the left-hand side, I'm going to check for some terms I can combine. So I can combine negative 1 plus 3x's, and I also notice that I can combine the constants, but they're actually going to cancel out. 3 minus 3, that makes a 0 pair. So if I rewrite the left-hand side, I would have x squared. Negative 1x plus 3x is 2x. And again, the 3's cancel out. And that's equal to 7x plus 14. So I notice that I have an x to the second power. So that means I need to collect all the terms on the left-hand side. So I'm going to subtract 7x and subtract 14x from both sides to move everything to the left-hand side. So when I do that, I'm left with x squared. 2x's minus 7x's is negative 5x's. And I have a minus 14, and that's equal to 0 because nothing's on the right-hand side. So x squared minus 5x minus 14 is equal to 0. To solve this, I can factor it. X squared splits as x times x, and what multiplies to negative 14 and adds to negative 5, you're making your chart again. What multiplies to negative 14 and adds to negative 5, that would be negative 7 and 2. So I have a minus 7 and a plus 2. Then to continue to solve, I have to apply the zero product property, where I set each of these factors equal to 0, or the quick way to do it is just to flip the signs. So 7 and negative 2. Before I record this as my final answer, I need to go back to the original denominators, because you might have an extraneous solution. If you plug in your solutions, you get an undefined answer. So if I plug in 7, it would not make any of my denominators a 0, so I'm looking for what would make my denominators a 0 because you can't divide by 0. So 7's good to go, but plugging in negative 2, I can't plug in negative 2 because that would make my denominator a 0. So negative 2 is an extraneous solution. So the only solution is x equals 7.